Welcome to day 46 of me trying to get rid of my porn addiction in 120 days. Throughout my nofap journey, going into it, I thought that this was going to be really hard. I thought that I was going to struggle constantly with urges. I honestly thought that I was going to slip up, mainly because I had so many attempts on nofap. I said many times in previous videos that I started nofap when I was 17 and I'm 22 years old now. Throughout these 5 years, I've slipped up probably over 50 times. I'd go 3 days, relapse, and then it was like a little cycle, it happened over and over again. But this time, I've managed to really keep the momentum going, compared to the other times that I've been slipping up. This time felt very, very easy. And actually, let me reword that. Not easy, but more simple. I felt like going into it, I was a lot more prepared and I did things a lot differently compared to what I did in the past. And what I want to get through in this video, my message is that nofap is simple. It's simple. It's not easy, it's simple. There's probably things you're doing right now that is stopping you from getting to a certain point in nofap. There was things that I was doing that I changed, and now I'm 46 days in. I'm top 1% of people on nofap. Anyone who attempts nofap, I'm probably top 1%, or at the very minimum top 5%. And I'm not even there yet. My end goal is to hit 120 days. But going into what I said before, that nofap is simple, I want to dive deeper into that. So before we do that, I just want to talk about how I was when I was starting nofap in the past. I was this skinny fat kid, constantly going through trauma, had to deal with the world, the struggles of the world, as everyone does. But my way of dealing with that was going to porn. My way of dealing with boredom was going to porn. I couldn't get a girl, I got rejected. Where would I go? To porn. And after a while, I started getting frustrated. I started getting angry. Started being like, I don't want to live like this anymore. Looking at girls through a screen, watching porn, and just slaving my life away to these porn companies. I want to actually experience the real world, experience stuff with women. On top of that, just have a more vibrant life. So at the age of 17, I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking quit porn forever. That was probably the point where I knew that this shit was hard, because I did not just get rid of it, and I wanted to for so long. But as you know, it's not that fucking easy to get rid of porn. You're gonna go through so many trials and tribulations, and what I want to get through is that already if you're watching this video and you have a porn addiction, already you acknowledging that you have an addiction and wanting to get rid of your porn addiction is already a great step, because majority of people don't want to get rid of this addiction. They don't care. They're not even aware that they have an addiction, or they're in denial. So being aware that you have an addiction is already the first step to getting rid of it. And that's exactly what I did. At 17, I told myself, all right, I'm gonna get rid of this addiction. It took me so long to finally get control of it. I'm 22 years old. It's been 5 years. But the thing I want to get through is that it's simple, it is simple. Going into this, but let me rephrase that. The reason why this time, like me being on nofap, has been a lot more successful compared to me being on nofap other times is because I did these specific things that I'm going to get into right now. I started meditating, I started journaling, I started getting outside more, being more physical, playing sports, going to the gym more. But the most important thing, the most important thing I want to get through to you, and you need to be doing this if you want to be successful, is to really be fucking self-aware, bro. Self-aware. Know yourself. Get a journal out. When are the times that you fucking fap? Because more often than not, you probably are doing the same shit every day, and you probably fap at the same times, at the same place. for the same reasons. As I said, for me, I was doing it out of boredom, or if I was anxious. And what I mean by anxious is if I was dealing with if I was dealing with something, for example, I was fucking hurt, dealing with the struggles of this world, or I was just fucking bored scrolling on Instagram looking at big booty Latinas or some shit, bro. But the more I started recognizing that, I started being like, listen, okay, I'm not gonna give myself as much free time. I'm not gonna go on Instagram. In fact, I deleted it, and I still have it deleted, because why would I want to risk that? Why would I want to risk myself getting back on watching porn again? Why? For what? Just so that I could have some followers, tell people, not look weird. Listen, if people are going to tell you that you are weird for not having Instagram, then that says a lot about them. That means they're very shallow. Do you want shallow people in your life? People who are just gonna make you feel like shit? Because they're probably the reason why you have the porn addiction. They're probably the reason why you're going to porn, because you don't feel safe around these people who have been fucking up your life. Listen, I'm not saying don't have friends, but you need to really look at yourself. Actually, not look yourself. You need to look at the people in your life. Are these people encouraging you to get to the next level? Are these people encouraging you to follow your dreams? Are these people encouraging you to overcome these addictions that are fucking limiting your potential? Because if not, then you really need to get a new circle of friends. You don't have to cut them off. You just need to distance yourself from them. But if it's really that uncomfortable and they're really limiting you to a point where you can't do anything, then you need to get rid of them. But anyways, what I want to reiterate. Fuck, bro. I can't say that word. Reiterate. All right. What I want to reiterate is that being self-aware. Always be self-aware. This is not only about porn. This is just in life. You need to realize that being self-aware is what's going to make you grow. Being self-aware is what's going to get you that job. Being self-aware is what's going to get you a better grade on the test. Because when you're self-aware, once you're self-aware, that's how you can improve. Don't look at other people who are ahead of you. For example, if you're going to the gym and you see these guys who are big as fuck, lifting heavy ass weight, and you can't, don't look at that, bro. Don't look at that. Focus on yourself. Focus on what you can do today and keep on lifting. Who you are today is not who you will be a year from now, bro. If you just feel like that, if you're constantly self-aware, you will improve your life. And people will look at you and be like, this is not the same person I knew. That's exactly what happened when I started improving myself. I started going to the gym for the first time. I used to be very skinny, but then I started going to the gym, told myself that, okay, listen, even on off, days when I don't feel like going, I'm still gonna fucking go and do at least something. And guess what? I built some fucking muscle, and now I feel fucking great. And guess what? Now I'm 45 days into NoFap when I've never fucking been able to even go 3 days without it. And that's all because of being self-aware. What I want to get through in this video is that NoFap is simple, but as I said, be fucking self-aware and incorporate habits that are going to help you. As I said, I meditate for 10 minutes every day. I journal. I go to the gym constantly, do something physical, walk outside. In fact, today it's decent, it looks pretty nice. If you have a forest around you, just go to the park and just sit with yourself. You don't have to constantly be stimulated, and if you have to, delete social media. I said before that if you're watching these YouTubers or Twitch streamers like Kai Cenat, for example, who are constantly promoting OF fucking creators, then stop watching these people. They're not improving your life in any way. You're just sitting there on your bed, bro, sapping fucking dopamine, watching streamer, bro, who gives a fuck about, they're not helping you in any way. They just want money. So that being said, bro, what are you gonna do? Do you want to keep being sapped by porn? Let porn limit the potential that you have? Or are you gonna get the fuck up and be like, I'm fucking sick and tired of this shit, and take control of your fucking life and finally become the man that you so badly want to be? Because I know if you've been watching up until this point, you want to be that guy. Anyways, tune in for day 46. If you're on NoFap and you see me as inspiration, consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. Peace.